And hello, we're live. Hello, Miss Simone. So happy to have
Hello,
you.
Mr. Fuentes and everybody else out there.
And in this, we were just talking about the warmth of where we live and where we are. And I just love it. Seasons nowadays are so different as we move around the world. So you're about to jump into summer, I think, in Australia, and then you leave to another
Yes,
climate.
yes, I am. I'm off to Italy next week, but only for 3 weeks. Then I come back and I'm home for summer. I love summer, so it's good.
Yeah.
Happy to be
Yeah.
here. Very happy to be here.
And I'm so happy to have you on this topic. I've had the pleasure and the joy to have known you for many years and see you now facilitating these amazing classes of choice for possibilities around the world. And as we were looking for a title, a topic for this class, this live, leaning into choice of possibilities was what you chose. And I have a couple questions about that. Um, and maybe can I begin with that, or do you have a place you'd
Yeah,
like to
go
begin?
for it. Go for it.
Well, it's interesting because it's a term you often hear out in the world, right? There's books, there's lots of things that are written about leaning in, like,
Hmm.
leaning into different things in your life. But it often is associated with leaning into something that's hard, something you don't want to do. Can you talk about what you mean with leaning into choice of
Yeah.
possibility?
Okay. So a couple of things with that. I heard this quote yesterday. Let me see if I can get this correct. It's something like the magic is in the things that you avoid. Is the
Mm,
energy of it, right? So, how often do you not lean into what you have decided is uncomfortable, is unknown, is undefinable, and it's the magic? I mean, if I give you an example about money, we'll just pick a topic that nobody else has a problem with, right? Money.
right.
And for me, I mean, a lot of people know that the second book I wrote was called Getting Out of Debt Joyfully, and I created myself to be quite a financial mess. But I knew it and I loved it. And that sounds insane. But
Mm,
I knew what it was like to be in debt. I knew what it was like to struggle each week to find the rent. I can be like, oh no, I've got rent due in 2 days. What am I going to create? I knew what that energy was like. It was so comfortable for me. Now, that doesn't make any sense. You go, why would you choose that? Why wouldn't you choose money? That's going to be more comfortable. I had no idea what that felt like for me. So when
mm,
I really made the demand of changing my financial reality, I had to lean into these possibilities that I had no idea what this was going to look like, how it was going to show up, how I was going to be by using these tools, what was going to change in my life, who was going to leave my life, who was going to come into my life, like none of that. I knew none of that. But I also knew that there was a possibility that existed. And if I kept staying out here and just choosing what I know, then I'm only going to be associating with the people who align and agree with I have a money problem, who align and agree with poverty, with scarcity, who align and agree with the definable you, which is usually the limited you. And then there's this moment that and that was not easy for me. Like people go, oh, it was easy. Use the tools and then you have a good financial reality. It sounds weird, but a lot of the times I honestly felt like I was just waking up and hitting my head against a brick wall and I would get
mm.
a better result. And so making the demand of myself to use the access consciousness tools with money and lean into more possibilities. Now, here's a few things that show up. How many of you are actually willing to be alone as you lean into possibilities? Because I had all of these people that I would hang out with, and all these people, like I said, that would be in that rhythm, that same heartbeat. When you leap out of that, you look around, you're like, dude, is there anyone in
Yeah,
my life? And I think everybody who has gone through something like this, whether it's with money or anything else, or breaking up a relationship, there's this moment, there's this space in your life, like this platform in your life where you are alone,
yeah,
and you have to learn to be with that in order to lean more into possibilities. And I'm not ditzing or judging the people I used to hang out with at all, but
right.
I didn't desire to choose that anymore. I desired to lean into something different. So when I started leaning into a different possibility, I had people like Gary and Dane show up in my life. And now it's like, man, I've got so many beautiful, amazing, phenomenal people like yourself, Sylvia,
Yeah.
all around the world, not just in
Mhm.
Australia, like all around the world,
Yeah.
that are inclusive of my life. But the one thing I've learned too of leaning into these possibilities is also not to make, say, the people that I have in my life, or the possibilities, this make it solid. What if even now my life is friggin' great? I'm going to ask to receive even more. I'm going to ask to lean into even more possibilities, even if that means I go through that period or whatever of where it has that energy of maybe you're alone again. Bring it on. Let's go.
Yeah. And that, thank you so much. And that was a beautiful way to invite that embracing of the unknown, of that energy of being uncomfortable. I know that when I started, even with access, and some of the choices I made were frightening to many people. They didn't make sense. And there was that moment where I didn't associate it to being alone, but it was like I had to trust me. It was just
Yeah.
something I had to trust, that no one else was, at least in my immediate circle, was definitely gonna align or agree.
Hmm.
Through the years, it's gotten maybe a little bit easier, but I even find myself now going, oh, it's like there's something new available, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that space of being uncomfortable again.
Well, I was even talking to Gary this morning, and I said there's an energy up in my world where I get there's another level of receiving available for me.
Mm,
And I'm not trying to make it solid or,
yeah.
pock and pot anywhere that I'm trying to make it significant, but I can just perceive this download of a really different reality and a level of receiving that I've not yet chosen. And
Mm,
sometimes that's I mean, it sounds so easy. You go, yeah, you go, girl, whatever, be the badass bitch, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, wow, okay. We
mhm.
tend to so lean into what we know. We lean into
Yeah.
failure. We lean into judgment. We lean into limitations. Leaning into possibility, as we've both just mentioned, is just wow. What else is possible? What next?
Yeah. And you mentioned money, and even that topic of money, of how much we lean into what's familiar,
Mm,
and I find myself now, it's like, wait a moment. This is way too familiar again.
yeah.
Like, I gotcha. But it's like that willingness to play with it as well and notice. And I was like, that doesn't work anymore. What else can I choose? And I'm catching myself as kindly as possible, but where I distract myself to maintain what's comfortable and familiar, rather than
Mhm,
that. Oh, it's kind of like I've just started Pilates, right? And it's like those certain exercises where you're like, can I keep going? Can I hold this? It's like, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. But something like that, like leaning
yeah.
into that and going, okay, not
Yeah.
comfortable, but go.
Yeah. And yeah, that's I love you talk about Pilates. I love Pilates, and
Mhm.
I had a session yesterday, and I spoke to my Pilates instructor. We were talking about life and changes and everything, and I said, you've got to take some credit for the changes with my body, because
Yeah.
it was about 4 years ago, and at the beginning of the year, she said to me, "What are you asking for? Like, what are
Mm.
you asking for when we start this year, like with your body?" And for years, I had gone to change the shape and the size. That was my go-to. Oh, judge myself, judge my body, change the shape and the size. And the way she asked me, I sat there and I went, oh, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
And I've noticed as I was getting older, I started to make some of those noises when you get off the couch and you're like, oh, and I was like, dude, what the fuck happened? I don't want to be that person that does that. So I sat there with her and I said, you know what I'm asking for? I'm asking for strength in my body and flexibility. And because
Mm.
she was commenting, she said, Simone, your body has changed so much over the past, 4 years. And I said, I know. And when I started to ask for what my body desired and what would create a greater possibility and that strength and flexibility, I said, weirdly enough, the shape and size started to change as well. But leaning into that strength and flexibility that allows something greater to show up created a different way of being with my body, not looking for a result, always being in question of leaning into that possibility.
Well, it's interesting because I had been asking sometimes, like, okay, what else would be fun with my body? Like, and so I started swimming and just for the fun of it, not a routine. And I would go by this place and I'd see in my corner of my eye that Pilates shop, drive back,
Yeah.
and it over a year, I'd say. And finally I was like, hello, and I'm not choosing this for what reason? You should have seen me, Simone, the other day. I was doing I don't know, off the platform jumps, and I was laughing. I felt like I was on a trampoline laying down.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that
Yeah. It's
joy in
amazing.
that play, yes. But that
Yeah.
part of, how much do we put off or avoid what is showing up that we're asking for? For me, it's
Yeah.
like,
Well, also, yeah.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was
Go
going to
ahead.
say, don't listen to what, because your body for 1 year is going, dude, let's go there. Dude, let's go there. And your body just keeps going, oh, okay. Sylvia,
Exactly.
let's go over there. And then you finally go, I think I'll go check out Pilates. And your body's like, oh my God, that took a fucking year. Like, what if we just listened to the whispers and went,
Yeah,
what, today? And also know when your body doesn't desire Pilates. Like,
yeah,
I'll do Pilates a lot, and then I don't do it at all. And then I'll go
yeah.
running or something, or I do something else. It's like always being in question. And for me, I think leaning into possibilities and choosing, because every choice you make creates a different future. You choosing Pilates, you've now just chosen a different future with your body. Not a
Mhm.
right one, not a wrong one, not one that's conclusionary. It's just different. It's an alternate reality that you have now chosen. And if you continue to listen, then you'll hear when your body goes, hey, we could do swimming and then do Pilates, or we could go to a dancing lesson, or we could, you know what I mean? It's like when
Yes.
you're leaning into possibilities, your awareness expands and you hear and you receive
Mm.
ease, joy, and glory. All of life comes to us with ease, joy, and glory.
So would you say that's the gift of catching yourself when you're going into conclusion is that you actually open yourself up to hearing the new whispers, perhaps?
Yeah, look, I've been working, I've been using access consciousness tools for 22 years.
Wow.
I do not have this correct. I don't got it. I'm getting it. And there are some days that I wake up and you're like, wow, you just get a brand new, and I know you know what that's like. You get a
Yes.
brand new download on maybe choice. And it's funny because I facilitate
Mhm.
choice for possibilities classes. That doesn't mean I know everything, but I have a willingness to keep asking questions. And I have used these
Mhm.
tools over and over again. And for me, I've really made the demand to not live from a conclusionary reality or look for a certain result, because in truth you can't control anything, you can choose everything. And with that, it's so heavy in my world when I go to a conclusion. So
Mm.
I let myself go, oh wow, that's interesting, you've just created this whole conclusionary reality around this. Destroy and uncreate. Everything at that is right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, prohibits and beyonds. And that's the access consciousness clearing statement. If you do not know about that, the link is below. You can watch a video with myself and Dane talking about it, but really just pock and pot it and then go, okay, so if I was choosing a reality that works for me here, what would I choose with no conclusion? What is the strongness here I have not been willing to acknowledge?
And I love it because it's not even, about going to the wrongness of you. It's just knowing you have another choice,
Yeah.
and the gift of the clearing statement to actually begin to shift that and change that energetically. I'm grateful. I don't know that I can explain how it works, but I remember when I first started using the clearing statement, it was like, well, I turn on the switch of the light and it turns on, turn it off, it turns off. That's all I need to know right now. Like that works. And so
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
for me, that's what the clearing statement is. It's like the sense of a fresh space to choose and be aware of what's actually true for me.
Yes.
Wow. Well, one of the things, part of my invitation to have you on today, Simone, is we were just recently out in Colombia for in Bogota for one of your choice of possibilities. And so we had traveled before there out to Brazil, but it was this joy and adventure of, being out in Latin America, but also with this incredible class of choice for possibilities that you facilitate. And I think you had a really good time that you're actually considering going again.
I am. And I love the fact that, we've been throwing everything up in the air and going, how's this all going to land? And literally, we planned this live, but this morning is when things landed, like about an hour ago. I love the way the universe works because we were like, oh, I don't know if this is going to, whatever. So it's not up on the website yet because literally it landed an hour ago. And we have some beautiful, amazing people who are helping us out with this. But I'm just going to find the dates here because I'm coming to South America again. And we are going to start off in this moment with a choice for possibilities in Medellin, Colombia. Yes, I'm going to Medellin. Tacos World. And that's going to be, so save the date basically, because you can't sign up yet, but save the date. Okay. So I'm going to be doing 15th to the 17th of March for CFP, Choice for Possibilities, which you need to have done foundation for that. And then
So you
I'm
have
going to
time to get your foundation done, everybody, and fly out
time.
to beautiful Colombia, out in Medellin. Beautiful city. Yes, I can't wait.
And then we're going to Mexico, and we'll have an advanced body class in Mexico City on the
Mm,
weekend of that 23rd, 24th. So probably starting on the 22nd.
yes.
Again, this landed an hour ago. So give or take a day. Okay. Give us a moment, but that's what's happening. But that's not all. I'm after that. I think in this 10 seconds, I'm going to go to El Lugar, to Costa Rica, and I'm going to do a Getting Out of Debt Joyfully class live from El Lugar. And I think Sarah Watt, I'm trying to convince her to do a Conscious Source, Conscious Writer class there. So
Oh,
during the
beautiful.
day, and then maybe, over 4 days in the late afternoon, I'm doing Getting Out of Debt Joyfully, which will also be live streamed. And I'm also going to break some other news to you that the world doesn't know about yet. Is at El Lugar, at the beginning of El Lugar in April, it's looking like Dane will be doing an ESB live at El Lugar. So there's lots of
Woo!
stuff happening. And I also want to put a shout out to David Kubis and myself. We've been starting this thing called Access Consciousness Leadership, and they're
Mm,
classes for like businesses, corporate world, etc. 3 or 4 hours. And I just spoke to him briefly after everything landed as well. He was still up. He's in Europe. And we are looking at maybe doing something in Colombia, either Medellin or Bogota, and also Mexico City. If anyone has any contacts or anything like
mm,
that and would like to contribute to that, reach out to me. You can reach out to me at my email that goes to my whole entire team. It's sm@accessconsciousness.com. We'd like to just do, it's like even one like 4 hour event, 3 or 4 hour event for more business, corporate, etc., and see if we can get some of these tools and bars into business basically. So
and
that
I
is
love
what we
that because this is all hot off the press in creation.
yeah
And this is part of also like leaning into those whispers of possibilities, this with David and putting it out in the world. It's like, okay, where would it like to be? Who
yeah
possibly knows? Yep, where and when. Yep. I love it. I
yeah.
love
And I
it.
love that we planned this um, a week ago, and I was like, it'd be really cool if we had everything sort of landed by then. Boom, it is. Thank you,
It
universe.
is.
So, can I also offer a hint? Okay,
Yeah.
is this is a tool I use. As a kid, you were taught manners, right? Please and
Hmm.
thank you. Okay, use it with the universe. Okay,
Hmm.
so even right now, it's like, you know what, dear universe, thank you so much for everything that you have gifted me, and thank you for me, my infinite being, for everything I have chosen, and
Hmm.
the greatness that is showing up. And please show me more. What else is
Yeah.
possible? What else can I receive today that I haven't been willing to receive? And thank you so much for everything you've gifted me. Please, thank you. Using my manners, bring it on. Bring it on. Let's go. Let's step it up.
I love that. Yeah, and the energy for me often it's, it would be really fun. Like kind of like when you have like a playmate and you're like, hey, it would be really fun if this showed up. Like, we
Yeah.
could both really enjoy it. Like, hey.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, let's go, let's go, let's go. Yes, I get to see you in Medellin next year. And I got
Yay.
to say, Getting Out of Debt Joyfully is the most feedback I get from that is in that area of the world. I've had
Oh,
some really beautiful messages from people who have maybe done no access or whatever, and they've somehow, thank you, all the facilitators out there, who
Yeah.
have found getting out of debt joyfully, and they're using it and it's changing their life. So it's been amazing. So actually, Gio, I think you were one of them. Maybe
Yeah.
I think you sent me a message on Instagram. So, and it's been some really beautiful stories. Like, these tools work. Use them.
Yeah.
So if you want to come to CFP and you go, oh no, dearest mio, I don't have the money, getting out of debt joyfully, start using the tools, go to a bars class, go to a foundation class, and I'll see you in Medellin.
That's it.
You
See
got
you
some
guys in
space.
Medellin, Mexico City, and El Lugar. And Simone is just really enjoying all of South America and Mexico and the world, really. But thank you, Simone. Thank you for the joy and never giving up and never stopping. Like, really, truly, no matter what shows up. Like when you say you don't have it figured out and all of that, the willingness to just keep going in the face of anything and everything has been such an inspiration on this side. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're very, very welcome. De nada.
All
No
right,
more
everyone. If you guys have any questions, reach out to me, or that, if you have any leads for Simone, SM at accessconsciousness.com, for that leadership class. And what else is truly possible for all of us as we lean into what we know is possible in the face of perhaps the discomfort of not knowing what it will look like. So thank you so much, Simone.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Ciao.
Bye bye.